This is Jarrod Horak, and this is my latest handicapping video. And in this video, I'm going to analyze the Grade 3 Oklahoma Derby at Remington Park for Sunday, September 24th, 2023. Now, if you're interested in my full card analysis, my full cards will resume with the Santa Anita Park Autumn Meet. That Autumn Meet begins on September 29th. It runs through November 5th, and you can purchase individual full cards, weekly and weekend packages, the entire meet, plus the 2-day Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita on November 3rd and 4th. And if you're interested in any of that, go over to the runawayrhorse.com on my sales page for more details. And you can also purchase my full cards at todaysracingdigest.com. Speaking of the digest, if you head on over to their website into their news section, you'll find a lot of handicapping articles that I've been writing. I wrote a lot from Saratoga this summer, stuff from Del Mar. I covered the Iroquois and the Pocahontas, the road to the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks in articles on their website. Did videos for those as well. And I'm going to be covering the Pennsylvania Derby. Now, I'm going to do a Pennsylvania Derby preview video, and then I'm also at the digest. I'll break down that race. I'll go through and I will do the pace scenario, final time ratings. I'll go through and give out my top contenders or all my contenders first to last and wagering strategies as well. And you will be able to read that article at todaysracingdigest.com for the Pennsylvania Derby on Pennsylvania Derby week. After they get the post positions, I'll get that article up as soon as I can. So keep checking out their website for that Pennsylvania Derby article. But now let's get into the analysis of this video. 10th race at Remington Park. Grade 3 Oklahoma Derby, $400,000 purse. For 3-year-olds traveling a mile and an eighth on the main track. Scheduled post time 8:48 p.m. Eastern time. Number 1 in this race is Ghost Hero, and he's probably going to try to set the pace. He's 20-1 morning line. He's 5 for 11 lifetime with a second and a third. He's run 5 times at Remington Park with 2 wins and a second. Now, he has run well over a route of ground before, but he is stretching back out in his second start after a layoff, after finishing 3rd in a 7-furlong stakes race on a wet track at Charlestown on August 25th. A few starts back, the Will Rogers Stakes, a 1-mile race at Will Rogers Downs, he stuck the pace, took the lead, and then he took over. And then in the Texas Derby, $300,000 race at Lone Star at a mile and a 16th, he set the pace. He finished 4th, beaten 3/4 of a length. So he's going to have to run a longer race here. He's going to be facing some decent company, but he should be a pace factor. Number 2, Tumbarumba. This one is a son of Oscar Performance, and he's a gelding, and he's run 9 times with 4 wins, a second and a third. And he certainly likes a fast track. So if we get a fast track here, he should perform well. He's run 6 times on a fast track with 4 wins, a second, and a third. And he's one that likes to track the pace. He can come from a bit further out, but he typically likes to stalk the pace. Most of his races were in sprints. Broke his maiden in a dirt sprint at Churchill last year. And he was second in a Louisiana-bred stakes race at 6 furlongs at Fairgrounds. And then they put him in a couple turf routes, and he didn't do well. But then when they moved him back to the main track, he started to excel. 7 furlongs at Keeneland in the spring. He won that one by a nose. Optional claiming race at Churchill at 6.5 furlongs. He won that one by a neck. The Maxfield Stakes on a wet track. He was up the track, didn't like that. And then a 1-mile stakes race to Ellis Park Derby last time out. He stalked the pace from the inside post, and he was able to prevail by 3/4 of a length under Rafael Bejarano, who's going to ride him back in this race. And I like that when he gets involved for the win, he typically runs well and he gets the job done. Like he did in his maiden win when he was setting a pressured pace and then he had a length lead and then he dug in and he held on by a head. And then in his win at Keeneland at 7 furlongs, he was tracking from second. He got into a stretch battle and he won by a nose. And then in his optional claiming win at Churchill after that, he stalked the pace. He got into a stretch battle and he won by a neck. And then last time he was able to edge away after stalking the pace to win by 3/4 of a length. So he doesn't win by a lot, but he'll fight you all the way to the end. Just a question of can he get this mile and an eighth distance against some better company. Ray's Cain is next, and he's 5-1 morning line. No rider listed as of this time for trainer Ben Colebrook. This is a son of Violence. He's 2 for 11 lifetime with 2 seconds and a third. Hasn't run at Remington, and he's 0 for 3 at a mile and an eighth. His big claim to fame was a Gotham Stakes victory in the mud. That was a 1-turn mile at Aqueduct earlier this year, and from an outer post, and he was rallying from 11th place, and he won by 7. That was a pace meltdown. It was a wet track. It was a strange race. Since then, he hasn't won any of the stake starts. He's lost the Bluegrass, the Kentucky Derby, the Matt Winn, the Indiana Derby, and the West Virginia Derby. Although he did run well in the Indiana Derby, second by a nose. So that was his best race since the Gotham. But he hasn't really run back to that brilliant effort, and this isn't his best distance either. Cagliostro is next, and he's 8-1 morning line for trainer Cherie DeVoe. This is a son of Upstart, and Hard Spun is the dam sire. He's still eligible for an entry-level allowance race. He's 1 for 7 with 3 seconds and a third. He's one that looked good. Second time out when they stretched him out, coming off of a layoff at Fairgrounds earlier this year when he broke his maiden from off the pace going last to first, and he won that one by more than 3. Optional claiming race in his next start. He missed by a neck. That was a good effort. They put him in the Louisiana Derby. He stalked slow fractions and weakened. Optional claiming race, he rallied to miss by a head after that. Indiana Derby, he was an okay third there behind Verifying and Ray's Cain, but he did have some traffic trouble in that race. And then in the Grade 3 Smarty Jones, I made him my top choice in that race last time out at Parks, and he stalked the pace and he finished second. Il Miracolo won that one, and that horse is going to come back and run probably in the Pennsylvania Derby. Cagliostro was a decent second that day. So he's won, making his second start after a layoff. He has a bullet workout for this at Keeneland. He continues to improve. He should sit a decent tactical type trip, and he should offer some value. Heroic Move is next, and he's 20-1 morning line for trainer Robertino Diodoro. This is a son of Quality Road, and he's 1 for 7 lifetime with a second and 3/3. In the Grade 3 Canadian Derby last time, he set the pace and he weakened to 4th. He's removing blinkers in this race. He likes to be up on the pace. He should be a pace factor. I don't know that he's going to be able to hang in against this fairly salty company in here. Gunflash is next, and he's 30-1 morning line for trainer Carl Broberg, a son of Gun Runner, and he's 3 for 10 lifetime. He's won at Remington Park before, 3 starts, a win, and a third in his local starts. Last time out, he was third at Remington. That was an allowance race, non-winners 4 lifetime. So he's stepping way up, second after a layoff. They tried him in some stakes races. The Texas Derby, he was 6th, beaten 3 lengths. The Maxfield Stakes, he was well beaten 7th. Then the Springboard Mile last year, he was a well beaten 4th. So he hasn't had any success in the stakes ranks yet. West Coast Cowboy for trainer Safi Joseph Jr. This is a son of West Coast, and he's one that at 8-1 morning line, he should probably end up working out a decent tactical trip. Last time out, West Virginia Derby, he was a decent second. He was 7-1 that day. He chased the pace, stalking from an outer post, and he had the lead, but he couldn't hold it, and he ended up finishing second. Red Route 1 ran him down, and he just held second over 1 in Vermilion. So that was a decent effort. Tyler Connor will ride back. And his other stakes races, he was in the Iowa Derby, he was 5th. The Florida Derby, 7th by 13. He was 3rd in the Holy Bull Stakes earlier this year. So he has had some success hitting the board a couple times in stakes races. Pearl's Earl looks completely overmatched in here, 99-1 on the morning line. A son of Bodie Meister and Stay Thirsty's the dam sire. They're removing blinkers, but he's run 7 times, and this is a maiden. He's never hit the board. So now he's going to stretch way out in distance and go way up in class, and he looks completely overmatched in here. How Did He Do That is next, and he's number 9 for trainer Steve Asmussen, and this is the son of Good Magic. 3 for 13 lifetime with a second and a third. He's run once at Remington Park, and he didn't hit the board, and he's 0 for 2 at this mile and an eighth distance. He did in the Super Derby at a mile and an eighth at Louisiana Downs last time out. He ended up finishing an okay third there. The Iowa Derby, he won that one. So he's one that he has had okay success in lesser stakes races, like the Iowa Derby and the Super Derby. In the Ellis Park Derby, he was a well-beaten 6th there. Tumbarumba, who's in this race, won that one. In the Texas Derby, he was 7th. The Sunland Derby, he was a well-beaten 4th. And then go back to the Riley Allison Derby, he was 2nd. Smarty Jones, earlier this year at Oaklawn, he was no threat. And he's running some other stakes races. He won the Zia Park Juvenile at 6 furlongs last year. So he's one that when he faces better company, he seems to struggle a bit. He will try to get involved from off the pace. Red Route 1 is another one, but he's a big late runner, so he will definitely try to get involved from off the pace for trainer Steve Asmussen. Gun Runner, the sire. Tappet, the dam sire. He can run all day. The distance is not a problem. Didn't really seem to like the turf course when they moved him back to turf, although he has won on turf before. But last time, the Dueling Grounds Derby at Kentucky Downs. He never got involved. The West Virginia Derby, he was 15 lengths back, and he kicked away to win that one by 3 lengths. So that was over West Coast Cowboy that day. He was in the Belmont Stakes. He had no threat there. The Preakness Stakes, he was 4th. That race didn't set up for him. Bath House Row Stakes prior to that, he qualified for the Preakness when he came from 11 lengths back to win that one. No threat in the Arkansas Derby. In the Rebel, he rallied for 2nd. The Southwest, he rallied for 2nd. And so he's one that, as you can see, he'll try to get involved late. Typically, he'll put up a decent late run. And I can definitely see him getting involved late here if he gets enough pace help. And Joel Rosario is going to get back aboard. And he did ride him to victory in that Bathhouse Row Stakes. Number 11, Groveland for trainer Owen Hardy. This is a Street Sense colt. And Medaglia d'Oro is the dam sire. And he's going to add blinkers. And he's okay consistent. 8 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. So he's one that he's typically in the mix, but in the West Virginia Derby last time he wasn't, and then the Tampa Bay Derby he wasn't either. He was 2nd in the Sam F. Davis Stakes earlier this year, so that was a decent effort there. But overall, when he steps up into the graded ranks, he seems to be a cut below. He likes to track the pace. A wide stalking trip is probably likely. More Lana Spirit, number 12 at 30-1. This one's 3 for 9 lifetime and 1 for 4 at Remington Park. Last time at Remington Park, he was 4th in an allowance race. Lone Star, he won an allowance race prior to that. His speed ratings are a bit low. He'll probably sit somewhere in mid-pack, but he's going to have to run faster. And then number 13, Hit Show, is your 3-1 morning line favorite for trainer Brad Cox, and Flavian Pratt will ride. This is a son of Candy Ride, and Tappet is the dam sire. Probably the class of the field in here. He's 3 for 8 lifetime with the 2nd. Spanked more than $500,000, and he has had success at 1 mile and 1/8. 3 starts with a win and a 2nd. So you put him on a fast track in these 1 mile and 1/8 races, he can certainly hang in there. He won the Wither Stakes looking really good at 1 mile and 1/8 in February of this year. The Wood Memorial, he was out in post 12, and he ran well. So that's, considering he's out in post 13 here, the fact that he was able to run a decent race from post 12 in the Wood Memorial probably gives him a bit of a look from that outside post that I'm not too concerned that he wouldn't be able to handle it. The Kentucky Derby, he finished a good 5th. He made a premature move there. That was an 18-horse field, decent effort. Belmont Stakes, he was an okay 4th. Didn't quite want to go 1.5 miles that day. And then the Jim Dandy in the slop last time, he threw in a disappointing effort. But he has back-to-back bullet workouts at this, at Saratoga on September 2nd, and then Churchill last time on September 10th. Training well for this. Looks like the class of the field. If he can work out a trip from post 13 under Flavian Pratt, he can certainly win this race. So I think Hit Show is the one to beat. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he ended up getting the job done. A horse like Red Route 1 can certainly get involved late. Some others in here, Cagliostro, I think you can use him underneath. Raise Cain, I think I'll try to beat that one. I'm not sure that he really likes 1 mile and 1/8, and he's never really run back to that Gotham Stakes. I'm going to go with number 2, Tumbarumba, as my value top choice in here. He just seems like he's getting good. The sire stats, average winning distance, I think maybe with Oscar Performance, a son of Kitten's Joy, and then Street Sense Dam, I think overall maybe he'll be able to stretch out and go a little bit further. I like that effort last time. I like his inner post and tactical speed. I could see him sitting a similar trip as he did in the Ellis Park Derby last time. And now we're just going to find out how good he is. It's just possible that he's not this good or he doesn't want to go this far. But I like the progression, good speed ratings in his last 3 dirt wins, and he's one that could end up making himself a factor in this race at a little bit of a price. So Tumbarumba will be my top choice, and this is how we'll play this race. We'll make a win wager on the 2 Tumbarumba, play an exacta box with the 2 and 13, that's Tumbarumba in Hit Show, and then a trifecta, putting those 2 on top, and then including underneath number 4, Cagliostro. And then I'll also throw in Red Route 1 underneath number 10. So that trifecta looks like 2, 13, 2, 4, 10, 13, and then 2, 4, 10, 13. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content. And that will wrap up this video. And again, check out my Pennsylvania Derby preview video, which I posted this week as well. And then my Pennsylvania Derby article at todaysracingdigest.com. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.